Hi guys, so today I'm going to be going over the 3 lingerie dresses I have in my collection, ranging from the dates of around 1908 to the early 1920s. Lingerie dresses were a style of dress popular from 1900 to about the mid-1920s. They are characterized by being made out of thin cotton voile or lawn, and they are called lingerie dresses because they used the same techniques that lingerie of the period used, which includes pin tucks, lace, and embroidery. Lingerie dresses were often worn by middle and upper class women. The amount of decoration oftentimes varied between these classes, but it was not a practical style for the average working woman because it was white and made out of a very thin cotton usually. My interest in historical and Edwardian fashion was actually sparked because of the 1975 film, The Picnic at Hanging Rock. This film was directly influenced by the Edwardian revival in the 1970s. The oldest lingerie dress in my collection is this 1908 to 1912 lingerie dress. This dress features a raised waistline, a slightly narrow but A-line skirt, sleeves that end just above the elbow, and a longer T-length skirt. This dress is in very good condition for its age. It features an embroidered panel at the front and a long skirt with vertical detailing and lace insertion at the hem. It is a fairly simple style. Here you can see the lace, the pin tucks, the crochet edging, as well as the machine embroidered panel that was likely made by a major manufacturer and pieced together by the creator. There's gathering at the center front on both sides and the same crochet waistband. These vertical tucks that you see going down the front of the skirt create a vertical line that was very popular in the beginning of the 1910s, inspired by Grecian silhouettes. Again, with the hem detailing, you can see the vertical influence that was used in the design. The closures on this dress are actually a very telltale sign of how old this dress is. There is a row of buttons going all the way down the split of the skirt. There is a hook that needs to be replaced at the waist, and you can see that there is an off-center balance to the closures, and there's covered buttons that were very creatively put into the lace, and right here another place for a hook. These asymmetrical closures were often used on older garments in the Edwardian period, as you can see. Taking a look inside this dress, you can see that all of the seams have either been covered by bias tape or are French seamed, so they are finished rather nicely. I will also mention that this dress I bought probably 2 months ago, and it was $35 and slightly damaged. Here you can see the hand-stitched work of the gathering at the skirt. I'm guessing this was likely homemade. This dress I was gifted at Christmas by my mother. It is from the mid to, late-ish 19-teens, so 1915 to probably 1918. And I can tell this because of the fullness and length of the skirt, which were changing rapidly at this time. This dress is the most decorative lingerie gown I have. It is in a sort of apron kind of style, if you can see the construction and placement of these lace details. It mimics how an apron would look. Here you can see the decorative lace, and the sheer amount of it is quite extraordinary. It has needed a lot of work because it came to me damaged, and it still needs some work, honestly. Here you can see the pin tucking detail and the fullness in the middle of the front. Here are the sleeves, and these are a long sleeve, but not very puffy and not very tight either. Here I'm hoping you can see the sheer fullness of the skirt. Here is a pin tuck detail, and you can see some of the damage at the skirt as well. The closures on this dress are snaps, and here you have an added on name. At some point, originally in this garment's life, it had buttons. There was a series of repairs that I discovered throughout this dress that lead me to believe it was probably used as a theater costume and repaired during the 70s, and the snaps that were added were not taken care of, and it has caused most of the rust stains and damage in this dress. There is a bias binding to cover the seams, and it has been altered a little bit smaller around the waist with this little tuck thing out on the outside. This dress is the most recent lingerie dress I have acquired. I bought this for $30 a few weeks ago. This dress, I think, is from around 1918 to probably 1922. This is also an older girl's or a teen's dress. So the proportions on this dress are not like the rest of the dresses, where at the time, still in the 1920s, dresses would have been below the knee. This one is above the knee and has a slightly drop-waisted and boxy silhouette. Here you can see the beautiful embroidery and scalloped edges and the kind of V-shaped yoke. Again, this is an machine embroidery panel that you could probably purchase for sale to make this dress with. In the late 19-teens, double-layered skirts were very popular, usually seen on longer dresses, but this one still shows this feature. There is a bit of machine lace at the back, and as well as pin tucks, which have come up in every dress so far. Again, varying in size, but still very prevalent throughout these lingerie dresses. These are shell buttons that go all the way to the waist instead of opening up into a sort of gap at the butt. On the inside of this dress, a lot of the edges are quite messy. There has been a double turned sort of edge at this part, and then an overcast part at the arm side, and then a very neatly done around most of the other pieces. There's a very neat blanket stitch, which I thought was machine serging, but actually isn't.